Mhm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel about the gender equality in the Hungarian music business. It's a pleasure to be here in person and to meet everyone in person or online through through the streaming online. Thank you for our panelists, Jónas Vero, the singer-songwriter of Vero Jónas Experiment, Varga Balázs, the head of Fekete Zaj Festival in Hungary, and also the owner and founder of a Hungarian ticketing company called Tixa, and Judith, also a singer-songwriter, but producer and leader of a Budapest-based school named Impro, Budapest School of Music and Technology. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we had a really nice panel yesterday about the gender equality in Western and Eastern Europe and how music professionals are like, I mean, how gender equality and inequalities affect their everyday lives in Ukraine, Austria, but also Western Europe. And now we will be talking about the Hungarian music business in specific. I think first of all we need to highlight some really interesting and striking facts about the Hungarian gender equality in specific. According to the Gender Equality Index, it estimates that Hungary got 55 points of 100 points altogether and is on the 27th place of the EU countries, what is almost the worst place. Actually, it's the second worst, and it's below the average with 14, almost 15 points, what is really striking. So I think it's visible everywhere in the Hungarian society, and also everyone knows probably that our leaders pursue and also promote traditional values, what sometimes ends up in not only gender inequalities, but in the music business, it's more like segregation, we could say. So it's really important to speak about this, and I'm really happy we can do this at Waves Vienna. So guys, if you'd be able to introduce yourself quickly, that would be amazing.
Shall I start? Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Vero. I'm a singer-songwriter. I have a band that's about 10 years old this year. And first of all, I'm so happy that there is a male in this panel. I'm so grateful, because I think this issue is not only the problem of females. Because if we talk about inequality in any sense, if we talk about any group of people who are left behind, it's not only their problem. And I'm so happy that you're also brought in this panel, because I think this is all of our, this is our common issue that we need to face together. It's very interesting that you opened your introduction with politics, because I really like getting into politics, and I'm not only saying politics, naming our leaders, but also talking about matters of our society, because I think inequality in gender is, in Hungary especially, is really down to how girls are brought up. And I come from a family of very equal parents. Both of my parents are great partners of one another. And I was always told that I will reach my goals if I work hard, which is, I think, a quite healthy way to approach life. But as I was working towards this dream of becoming a musician, I did face some issues when I actually realized that sometimes it's cooler for a girl to become a groupie or friends of musicians, and rather than become a musician herself. And this is something. It's more like a psychological matter and a matter of how we are brought up. And I'm not sure. Like, probably there is a very direct idea behind this, but I really believe that this is really down to small pieces, like bricks, of how we are brought up, to see how the music industry or this business or just how the artists in Hungary are divided shows. So yeah, this is a pretty messy introduction, but we'll dig deeper and I will wake up eventually.
Hi, I started as a concert promoter in the 90s, and at my first show, I already started. We started as a trio as promoters, and we started with two girls from the high school class. So for me, maybe it was a bit surprising for the local bands and for the local technicians, but we did it, and we managed to do our first show at the age of 17. So yeah, that was the first part. In the first years, I had to prove that I'm a good promoter to the dinosaurs of the music industry, and those guys were all males, of course, like. They didn't even accept that I'm younger than them, and I'm more innovative than them, or they were upset that I was talking to some artists that they were only supposed to talk. It's a typical. The borders were opened around the early 90s for bigger tours, and as a concert promoter. They were there, and they thought that they will be the only promoters for this specific their specific music genres forever. But luckily, it isn't so. So later, I was working for festivals and also a ticketing company, and. I always had the chance to see how a leader can form his team and how he can treat these roles. And sometimes those leaders were never be able to handle equality because they were not taught, as you mentioned. So family background does matter. I will tell you more later about some experiences for the near past.
Thank you.
So hi everyone, my name is Judith, Judith Vince. I make music as Judith. It's an electropop project basically. But I'm kind of a late bloomer in music because for quite a lot of time I thought I'm gonna be like a decent human being, and I went to university and I got an engineering degree, but then I just got sucked back in to music, and then I ended up in improv school, which is it was just purely music production school for a while, but then we expanded our courses. We have mixing, songwriting, composing, music management, so all kinds of courses. And so I've studied there. I studied there in 2015, and then I started to work there. And we took over the brand with one of my colleagues. I am young, and we lead the school together, which I am really grateful for. He's a very, very good partner in crime in that. So we can work very well together, and it's also a very interesting journey to a male-female partnership as co-leaders. So I'm very grateful to have that, and I have my music project for, well, a year, little more than a year, so it's a relatively new project. And yeah, when I got the invitation for this panel, I started to collect my thoughts and what can I bring to this table, and I also checked our statistics. Like how many women participated in a music production course in the last 10 years, or 11 years actually, to be specific. And well, in average, it's, changes from course to course, but it's between like 11 and 14%. So it's really, really low. Music production and, sound engineering, sound design, mixing is a traditionally male profession. And as it turns out to be, still is in people's minds. But we have a slight upcoming trend. So that's promising, but we are still under 25%, which is kind of sad because if we, for example, take IT as an example, because it's also like a classic example of traditionally thought male profession, and I also checked the up-to-date statistics for that, and right now it's about 47%. So there's actually, it's a very, very, it's a major jump actually if we take a look back to, I don't know, 5-10 years. And if we take the top 5 IT companies, it's like 37%. So even in the top companies, it's a relatively good statistic that we can see now. So yeah, we have still work to do. And also a fun story. The day before yesterday, so we have quite a big alumni group, obviously, from the 11 years, we have quite a group, and I posted there, so yeah, hi guys, I'm coming to here, and I thought I could collect some extra thoughts on this topic. What do you guys think? And it was really, really interesting because I got altogether 3 comments. The first 2, all of them male. The first 2 comments was like, what are you talking about? There is no sexism in music business. And, like categorically, like, no, there's nothing. And then the third comment was that, maybe we should just give it a go, like to think about it. Maybe there is, if, on any other fields or industries there are, and that's kind of a fact. So maybe we can give it a think that maybe there is a issue in music business as well. And then the conversation died. So yeah, that was the day before yesterday.
Thank you so much. Actually, what you raised, the topic of specific and traditional feminine and masculine roles in the music business, I think needs to be elaborated a little. What I talked to a researcher of the University of Technology in Budapest, Emilia Barna. I think you've mentioned her, right? Yeah, so she, although there aren't broad estimations and studies on this topic in Hungary yet, but she's conducting a really interesting and important research on this issue, and she found out that that the problems of we can say segregation is on the systemic level, and these typical roles are really visible in Hungary. What do you think, or do you actually know a female technician? Because personally I don't know any of them. We just discussed it yesterday that for sure there are, but we just don't know. So what do you think, Vero?
What do I think? what you mentioned with this commenting, I was invited with Emilia to a conversation on a very well-known platform in Hungary called Partizan to talk about women in the music industry, and the comments were really, really interesting because this is a platform which is mainly liberal, leftist, very egalitarian, talks about issues, human rights. It's very political and quite important nowadays. And the comments were really, really intriguing and interesting because it was very much the same as you were mentioning, but in like multiple amounts of mostly men saying, these girls bitching about their problems when they have the same and why they should work harder. And to really like look at it from a different angle, I always think about, like, put it in a very extreme and different place to understand why equal rights or equal opportunities is not the same as everybody has the chance or everybody can do it if they want to. Because if we look at poverty, for example, we see people on the street and we say, they should, if they started working or if they studied harder, they could have gone further and they could have reached higher goals. And when we look at it, and now we have a big knowledge about it, is that it's not true, because if their families are not supporting enough, if society is not supporting enough, if the education system is not supporting enough, and yes, also if politics is not giving enough reach and enough resource for these people to really make a step ahead, it's not going to happen. And we see this, not only in Hungary, we see this in the world. This is a very known issue that is very difficult to change. Now, with women, this is something that I think can be changed so much easier, because if the communication towards girls, and I'm talking about girls because this is where it really starts, to say, actually, you can try, it's not only guys who can play the guitar, it's also really cool, and it's not only sexy if a girl plays the guitar, it's also very cool and nice. And you can try out things, and you can, put one chord next to the other, and you can do it too. And, you should find your own voice and create and see what happens. If we approach girls with this attitude rather than, just be pretty and sing well or sing nicely and just be really cool on stage, then the outcome is different. So I always come back to this because I think it's really down to how we communicate with girls, and how also the male society treats women in this matter, and not only to say that guys should change, but also I think in the relationship that I have with my musicians, the musicians that I work with, the colleagues in all fields in music, I see that they appreciate that we are equal. They appreciate that I have an idea that I bring to the table, and I appreciate that they have something to give back. And I think it's a much healthier way to work rather than have power issues and all that, because I think that's super unhealthy and it doesn't make us happier, for sure.
If you go to a music management school, there are two of them in Budapest. Right now, you can see more girls at the school than guys. So it can look positive, but then a few years later, you can see where these students got, and if they stayed in the music industry, if they were able to get a proper job. And there might be an issue. Like, I think very few of them got to a decision maker position, and this is what we lack. Like we can as Lucia mentioned, we have some traditional male and female positions in the music industry, and right now, and we can see that in the communication or tour management, we have a lot of girls working right now. But at the front desks or at the stages, you can see not enough of them. But the whole problem is in the system. Like you have to show them somehow that you can try any of these positions, and if you are not receiving good feedback or you are not treated well, then you can speak about it, and you don't have to walk away or work there in a constant stress. And this is much harder to reach.
Actually, there are some professionals or people working in the music industry that refuse to communicate with female tour managers or just member of a team. So this is still a problem.
It is.
Yes.
At both of my companies, we face the same. Like when we book the festival, and we have I think around 60% in the festival crew and around 70% at my ticketing company's crew are girls, and then most of them come back to me with problems like in production or as a stage manager, they just I just receive calls like from other managers or musicians that, okay, this girl called me, but we should deal this thing between each other. And I say no, because that girl knows the whole situation better, and that's why she's responsible for that task. So I have to kick the ball back, and then he will call me again, and I kick the ball back again. And this is what I do with certain dinosaurs.
And is it hard to
yeah, it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm. But after all, they understand, and they...
Some of them.
Oh, okay.
Some of them, or some of them start to overcompensate. Oh, how nice this girl is! Yeah, and she's doing good. And I will call her again. Yeah, I promise.
Yeah, but the other side is that, oh, that girl is really cute, and they start to approach us in a different way. So that's another problem. What we need to be really...
My other favorite is that, yeah, she's pretty good in comparison as a girl.
Yeah. Despite the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jude, you're also in a quite tricky position. You started working for your school around 5 years ago, and I'm sure there was an evolution of your role. How hard it was for you to get where you are now?
Yeah, it was quite a journey. So I started in back office basically, and then later on I started teaching, and I started to take over the management, and then it just evolved to be equal partners with my colleague, and from inside it was okay. I mean, obviously I needed time to figure out the school, what I want to do, and everything. So that was okay. But what triggered me actually is that even though I was co-leader of the school for like years, and still people thought that I'm a secretary, and even people who I know, for quite some time. So it was surprising to fall back into that situation all over again, that I have to reintroduce myself, like, yeah, hello.
Yeah.
And then I thought that obviously it frustrated me quite a lot, and then I thought, okay, I can do two things now. One is to sit down in the corner and be frustrated. That's one, one way. The other way is to change my communication and change my positioning, because I'm not a very extroverted kind of person. I'm not someone who constantly requires attention, this kind of stuff. So I'm completely comfortable sitting in a back row and doing my job, which is okay. But my feeling of justice is kind of hurt when I doing my job quietly, and then it's not recognized. So this is why I changed my strategic place within the school, within the organization, and within the communication strategy of the school. And this is why I studied to be more present, and so it was a conscious choice. Like, I need to step up, and I still have some difficulties sometimes, and still in the situation where I have to explain where I am all over again, but I think it's less and less, so I guess it's a good trend. And I don't know what I wanted to say. So
but you are becoming a role model within the school society. So do you see the next Jude already?
Yes.
Great. And the same question for you.
If I see the what? The next
generation.
generation.
You are also a role model, so.
Oh, am I? I don't know. I hope that because I think our road has been paved by stronger, more badass women who really stepped up and paved this road for us. So that I still sometimes when I go backstage they ask who's guy's girlfriend I am and who am I looking for, which is kind of funny, but it's very interesting what you said, because I sometimes, even as a performer, even as I'm a band leader and my name is on the band and all that, I still sometimes get these things that, oh, she's just whatever, and let the man deal with the real heavy guns.
Sorry, might I add just a little bit quick story to that? Because sometimes we even, I told you this yesterday, so sometimes we actually have to switch places with my colleague in the communication, which is very rare. We sometimes have to do that,
Exactly, this is what I'm trying to come next to, is that I find it very hard to be stronger, louder, more out there, and I know that often people who work with me say that I'm strong, and there are these words that come next to this, which is usually come from very sexual terms, like you're a dominatrix, you're doing this, you're really like you ultra feminist who's really like going there, and I'm like, why do I hear feminism as a fierce word? I don't think it's a fierce word. It's not fierce to me. It means equal rights. It doesn't mean anything else. And I have to do my reflection on myself when I become stronger and when I take masculine features which don't really belong to me in order to step ahead. And that is a very big issue that I guess lots of other women who do their thing and want to move forward have to put on, and then at home I have to wash it off every day. That I'm like, okay, no, I can be sensitive, and it's just strength. It's not masculinity. It's just strength. It's just that I have things that I want in life, and I don't want to take anybody's role. And I don't want to be looked at as a dominatrix, because that's, I'm sorry, but it's a sexual term, and they say lots of things that everything in life is about sex. Only power is not about that, and I'm not taking power, and I'm not trying to do that. I just want to move forward, and I think this is a big issue right now that feminism has to deal with, how we push forward, because obviously the comments that you got on that post and what we got on that interview is really about this, is that what more women want from a male perspective, because this is for them very intimidating that we don't shut up. But we don't want to overshout them. We just want the same amount of space. And to kind of have that balance equaled out, there is a long, long way which we are walking, swimming, marching, whatever on until it happens.
But you are in a rather special position that you are a band leader and a singer-songwriter, and there was actually a boom of singer-songwriters in Hungary, female singer-songwriters. So you're quite lucky. But what about the rest of the industry workers? Do you think they are free to speak up and to raise this question and feminism, but also sexism, and try to shout everything out? Do you think they have the freedom?
On paper, yeah, but otherwise, I don't think so. And because music industry is a people business. It's about network contacts, and I think especially when someone is in the beginning of a career in music industry, he or she pays extra attention that, yeah, I need people to like me. I need people to like working with me. And if I, speak about these problems, they won't like me, so they won't invite me back for the next job. So this is why they just don't talk about this. And also, so I think discrimination can be divided into two parts, which, first we have this active discrimination where, yeah, I am not willing to talk with a female tour manager and so on, but we have this passive discrimination as well, which, I call this, it didn't occur to me, kind of discrimination, when you're putting up a lineup, or you're organizing something, you have a podcast and you write down the list. It didn't occur to me to think about female guests, or it didn't occur to me to invite female musicians. It didn't occur to me to look for a female technician, because most of the time, what do? You just scroll the contacts within your head, like, okay, who should I call? And women is just not in the front of this list. And and I'm really happy that we are having this panel and having this conversation, because I think in Hungary we are really at the beginning of this conversation. And also another thing that, first of all, I also get within myself, and I can see that on a lot of women as well, that obviously we get so frustrated about these situations when you feel powerless, and when you feel that you don't have any tools to move forward within that situation. But otherwise, I think it's extremely important to keep that in focus, that these are not personal problems. If someone says to you something offensive, that is not to you, it's not dedicated to you, it's not personal, it's, as you said, it's social conditioning, and most of the time, and we have to deal with this problem as a social problem, not on an individual level. And in order to do that, we need to communicate this in a neutral context. And I think that's also quite hard to do that, just get rid of your emotional attachments and just to talk about the problem solely. Because I think sometimes when you communicate with your emotions, people, men just, they just hear like, okay, there's drama, yeah. And I don't want to deal with that. And this is why, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I check my crews, they are quite supportive to each other, and that also to me, because I think it's also a really tough thing to have breakdowns or have a bad day as a leader, and you cannot hide, cannot always hide at least. But yeah, this summer was a really stressful summer. The whole festival season was quite short, and all the festivals had really short time to arrange the festivals, and they came to a strange situation there was a girl in one of the festival crews, and she just became a boss of a particular area, and we had to arrange the setup of the festival with her. And just one day before the festival, she called me and she was shouting at me, and just changing the whole setup in the last few hours, and ordering me to get there hours earlier, and I had only one day before the two festivals, so that was definitely not working. And I became really upset that how can she make it? And then I went to the festival, and the whole first or second day I was not talking to her at all, and only the necessary things. And then like after the festival, I started to realize what's going on with her, because I checked her bosses, and her bosses, all guys, just behave like with each other and with all the crew as they were in the football changing room. They are shouting to each other. They are rude to each other, and that girl sees them as role models. So she just wanted to be like them, and I think getting into conflict with her, it's not a way to show her that's not okay. I think, and we've been working together a few weeks later again, and then I just ignored when she was aggressive, and always answered nicely to see how this will work. But I think she definitely needs more and more support from his bosses, and also maybe from an external source, and because this is not the way to. If she has bad role models, she can still do it as how.
Speaking of festivals, yesterday's panel mentioned the issue of quotas at shows and festivals. What do you think about it? Do you think it is doable in Hungary, and if yes, how?
Hungarian lineup only.
Is the question regarding quotas? If we agree with quotas, in
gender.
festival?
Yeah, based on gender.
I don't have a clear choice or like an idea on this. I'm not sure if we just stick to numbers, it will make it any better, because it would also it would bring music that don't work or don't work well on festivals, and music that works really well on festivals would be excluded. So I'm not sure if doing it such cold-headedly would make sense. If there was a consideration of more female energies, more female artists on festivals, if it was in the organizers' minds to put that idea, also not the fact of not only to have different kinds of music genres, but also have more females, I think that would be the first step, which would make a great change. Also, it's not, so people who don't know how the Hungarian music industry is, it's not like there is 50% female artists hoping they will be let in. We're not there yet. So these statistics also say that there are not enough female artists, female musicians, and also this also means there is not enough female music professionals behind bands in the industry. So yeah, if we had a quota saying 50% female artists on festivals, I think you as an organizer would be in trouble, because it would be difficult to have 50% of female artists put on stages. So if there was a consideration, and if there was more push and more like I teach singing, and like 90% of female singers who come to me first come with apologies. They apologize for not being able to sing, for not having a sense of rhythm, for not being brave, for not knowing anything, and blah. And I'm like, you are here to learn something. Why do you start with this? This is a huge issue. This is a self-confidence issue that we need to really change. We need to, and also a lot of this comes from bad music education, from singing teachers and music teachers saying, oh, just, you know, it's better if you smile nicely. Just smile and whatever. It's bad. This should be changed. And then you wouldn't have to think about quotas as an organizer, because there would be enough female bands and female artists on the palette, and then you wouldn't need the numbers. So I'm saying that it has different angles to look at.
Yeah, like it's the same old topic that it's just a hobby, get a regular job. Yeah.
It's also for males.
Yeah.
Like guys also get it often.
Yeah, like when putting together a lineup, we just have to find amazing artists, and we focus on them, and then later, of course, we can make some focused Facebook posts or studies or articles about which were the female powers of the lineup. But when putting together a lineup, this shouldn't be this quota thing shouldn't be the main point. I think at least now. In countries where pop music education is available for everyone and it's free, and then as a young band you get touring support. It can be a quota thing because there are enough female musicians. We have to take a few steps for this, and right now, if I see my festival, we even book international artists. We couldn't put together a 50-50 lineup. It's just we are not at that step, but we are getting near to it. And if we look back on the lineup every year, I can say I'm happy, and we can be a good example on this. But yeah, enforcing quotas, it's too early in Hungary. But we need to talk to each other with other festival promoters to push them to be a bit more open.
But for sure, it's the long-term goal of the industry as well. What do you think, Judith?
I started to imagine the situation that, you know, there's a festival and I'm gonna get a call that, yeah, you're in. Mm-hmm. You know, we had, you know, like 10 more empty slots, but you have one of them, and I don't think I would be very happy, you know, to get a gig just because I'm a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah. And exactly. You know, I wouldn't feel good about myself because I don't want to get invited because of a woman. I want to get invited because I'm good and you want to hear my music and stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, but I 100% agree on that. You know, we have problems that have roots on a deeper level, not on, you know, a quota level. So it's just top of the iceberg. So yeah, we have to look for the solution elsewhere. Like and then we wouldn't even need to look at the numbers.
Thank you.
Right.
I've got one more question, and I think the last one. If you could send a message to your colleagues and Balázs to your male colleagues, what that would be? What would you say to them if you could? What advice would you give to them?
Shall I start?
Yeah. If you'd like to.
like talk to each other and forget tradition, or at least put tradition in a bit in the background, and don't copy paste your lineups if you talk about bands. But if you talk about crews, that also we are not in the 90s anymore. So I think if you just stick in the past, then your business will sink, and yeah, gender equality is just one of the issues which you ignore, and certainly you are ignoring other issues as well. So see who is talented at their job, even as a crew or as an artist. Give them the chance, and then get feedback from them, and yeah, that should work. And if you don't get you should, and also you should give a lot of mentoring outside the festival period or outside the tour period. You should find a professional and offer his or her services to your female colleagues, because I think they face a lot of issues which they don't even dare to mention to you. So just give them the chance to find a coach or find a psychologist who can support them as a group or as individuals, and then they will have more and more positive experience during the peak periods, and they will cope better, and they will stay in the music industry, and yeah, and then if they stay in the music industry, and the next tough step is coming for them, which is also not equal, the mothership and family. Also give them the support. Don't lose your trust in them if they want to be mothers. Provide them babysitters in the backstage, or provide them more home office days. But don't lose your trust, and don't knock them out from your team.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Girls, would you like to add anything? Or?
I was just while you were talking, it was very heart melting to hear what you were saying. But at the same time, I was thinking, I feel every day, I feel so lucky to be able to work with my soul and to write music and to perform it. And when this issue comes, I cannot deny the elephant in the room, which is, to me, if somebody has a problem with women, it's a psychological matter. I really believe it's not only communication and society, it's about how that person was brought up, what kind of relationship that person has with women in general in his or her family. So if somebody finds this panel frustrating, intimidating, stupid, unimportant, then my message to the person is that it's really not us who is the problem for that person. The problem is within, and yeah, this is how I feel, because I know that when I have problem with women, I look for my mother, and I look for my females in my family, and I look into my femininity. Or if I have problem with men, I deal with my father, and I really try to reflect that on my relationship to men in general, and not only to the fact that he's a guy and guys are like blah 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 whatever. We have to do our homeworks, and I think this is the time when we live in peace. I mean, we look at the world, it's war everywhere. We look at poverty and crazy stuff, but we are the middle class. We have the opportunity to deal with our past, to deal with the transgenerations of trauma and all these shit that was behind us. And I think it's our obligation to do our homework. And if we have an issue with women, which we do at this time, I think we should do our work on ourselves.
Would you like to add?
To answer the question, my first thought was very similar to yours. Like, what my advice would be is like, just ask each other, like, how are you, and how are you doing, and make time to actually pay attention to the answer, because I think this is an industry with a very, very bad work-life balance, so we are almost always out of time, but we really, really need time to stop, to get feedback from each other, and to implement changes within the system. Like there's the tale, like what's it called, the person who cuts the trees, lumberjack. With an S or L? Lumberjack. Yeah. So there's this lumberjack in the woods with a bad axe, and he just tries to cut the trees, but he gets really, really slowly, but he gets frustrated because he's late and stuff, and then another person just walks over, and then he says, like, why don't you stop to sharpen the axe, and then you would be faster. No, I don't have time to stop to sharpen my axe because I'm late, and he just continues to work with a bad axe, and basically we need to make time to sharpen our axes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thanks for your contribution. We still have some minutes for questions. Would you like to ask anything from us? Yeah, I think you can use the mic.
This thing on? Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for all you've been saying, and I think you mentioned a lot of issues that are not specific to Hungary, but also in Austria, as well as I would imagine the whole world, really. And I wanted to share something because you were talking about the lack of women or the invisibility of women in tech and the music industry and the technical part of it. Because I have a friend who is a stage manager, and whenever she is on tour with her band, with the band that she supports, or any stage really, and there's a male stagehand, the people who have questions always go to the male stagehand, and he always has to point out that the woman over there, she's the manager, she knows her stuff, please go ask her, I have no idea. And it's so frustrating for her that she has to do this extra work, not just being good at her job, but also constantly reminding everyone that she is good at her job, and that she is the one who knows stuff. And this is why she and other people in the industry founded a network, a support network, which is called Sisters of Music here in Austria, which is for women who are of flinters in the music industry and the tech world, so they have support and get visibility. So this is something that I wanted to share because I find it super important. And then I wanted to ask Balázs, I'm sure I don't pronounce it correctly.
Yes, correct.
Balázs.
Yeah.
Because you said that you started out as a music promoter with 2 women. Yeah. I wanted to know whether you got any comments from maybe, especially I guess, male colleagues in the industry, that you were, I don't know, less than because you need the support of women?
No.
Was there anything happening like that? Because I could imagine that happening.
From the older guys, who were working at the venue or the sound company. Yes, I don't remember it properly, but it was natural for me because we started as high school friends, and in that school music was always in the focus, culture was always in the focus, and also we had like 70% girls we never focused on let's make something only as boys or only as girls. Like
It was
we found
natural
each other.
to do together.
And we still have a great friendship with this group.
Okay, but what I don't know if
We were lucky.
some
yeah, but
how do you react if someone I don't know argues that you says something like you that you need the support of women to do your job and might consider you weak or something like that, or
I do not worry if they think I'm weak, because all of us have weaknesses, but on the other hand, I always answer them that okay, she knows this specific part better than me, so trust her. That's the best possible answer, and if he asks me again, then I keep telling him the same, and I encourage him to trust in her. That's
fantastic. That's basically what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you very much.
Often when these kind of under the table questions come, my strategy in this is to ask back, what is the question? To really say, no, sorry, what is the question? Like, can you specify what is the real question in this? And then it sometimes clears the air. It's like, it's just a joke or whatever. And I'm like, okay, just...
Very good. I always do this when I get these, I don't know, sexist comments or whatever, then, and it's just a joke. I'm like... Excuse me, can you explain the joke? I don't understand it. Can you please elaborate? Yeah.
True, so true.
Because it points out the sexism in it. Yeah. Great.
Thank you so much. We still have a minute for another question. Does anybody? No, so I think I'm gonna close this panel. Thank you so much for participating. And if you'd like to meet us, please come to our Hungarian reception at 4:45 in Café Weimar, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you so much. And we will meet in the afternoon then. Thank you. Thank you.